All right, we are here for a 2,000 point game of Warhammer 6th edition with vampire counts versus dwarves. We'll go over the armies in a moment. I will be commanding the vampires. John is the dwarven commander. We're doing a scenario from the General's Compendium called the Warrens, where, so if you look at the table, there's a lot of rocky formations and bits and bobs all over the table. So it's like a sort of bandits lair in the mountains. Special rules for the scenario is you can pick 2 units in your army that become skirmishers. So John has picked his slayers and
Quarrelers.
rangers, are they?
Quarrelers.
Rangers, and I've got just 1 unit of direwolves on the table, and I've taken advantage of the other special rule, which is you can put 1 into reserve, and from turn 2 I place a marker where they've come up somewhere in ambush. So we will see how that pans out. We don't have any videos on it, but this is actually near the conclusion of a wider campaign that we've been doing in the Border Princes. Essentially, this is the penultimate battle. If the vampires don't win this, then the dwarves have essentially won the campaign. But if they do, then it's still all to play for, and we will show you what happens next time. But yeah, we'll go over the armies now. So 2,000 points of vampire counts, this time being led by a level 4 master necromancer. He's accompanied by a level 2 necromancer, another level 2 necromancer, and a white lord here. Units, I've got 15 black knights with full command. You might see some colour variation there. That's because I've had to borrow some from another collection because I did not have enough to fill out the list. I've got 16 skeleton warriors here with full command, 15 skeleton warriors here at full command, 12 stock zombies at the back, 2 separate units of 5 ghouls. So the line is here, they are 2 different units. I've got 2 bat swarms, 4 fell bats, and on the table there are these direwolves who, as I mentioned before, are skirmishing for this battle, and the other direwolves are in reserve. So I will leave it to John for the dwarves.
Right, for the Dowie today, we have got, as the Lord, a Rune Lord with the anvil. And then we do have a lady in there, the Thane, in with the long beards. And then we have another Thane in with the hammerers over there. For core, we have 10 dwarf great weapons, 10 rangers, quarrelers that are skirmish, and 19 longbeards full command. Special, we have 1 bolt thrower, 12 slayers, and 19 hammerers full command. And then for the rare, we have the 2 gyros, and that is it for the Dowie. Right, Dowie first turn was a little bit brutal, surprisingly, for the dwarves. Everything shuffled up. The gyros flew, which hopefully should be out the way, and hid behind rocks. In the shooting phase, the quarrelers, even though the direwolves were a skirmish and there were 6s to hit, they managed to kill 2 of them. And then the Rune Lord done the rune of, I can't remember who you were, Wrath and Ruin, onto the fell bats. He done 5 wounds, and now they cannot fly next turn, so they're down to movement 2. So good first turn for the Dowie. On to vampire counts, turn 1.
So vampires turn 1. Everything in the army is pretty much moved up, apart from the bats, who are stuck due to being hit by the rune, which means they couldn't fly this turn. Magic, despite having 12 power dice to start with, John robs 1 with the rune of balance, and then he's got 9 in total. So I got an irresistible force, Dance Macabre off to start with, and the knights charged the gyrocopter, who fled. Unfortunately, didn't manage to cover my flank with a new unit of zombies as I'd hoped, and didn't manage to get the direwolves into combat with the gyrocopter over here. So I'm a little bit exposed in the middle. I don't think I did anything else, did I? Oh, Rod of Flaming Death did a single wound to the gyro before it fled, but other than that, it's looking a bit worrying for that big block of Black Knights now with those Slayers in my flank. So we will go over to Vampires turn 2. I mean, Dwarves turn 2.
Right, now has a good turn 2 for the Dowie as the turn 1. The movement phase, everything shuffled round again, moved up. The gyrocopter didn't rally, so he fled off the table. The Slayers made it in, but we could only get 3 in because obviously they were far away. So that's the way they've ended up. The shooting phase started off well. The Quarrelers done another 2 wounds to the direwolves. The bolt thrower hit, and then, as per usual, rolled a 1 on the wound, so he never killed any skellies over there. And then this chap over here, which was using the ringing that anvil to make these move, obviously into combat with them, rolled a miscast. So it was a bit of squeaky bum time, but he did roll a 6 on the miscast, which means he just can't cast this turn. So that is the end of Dwarf's turn 2 on the
combat as well.
Oh yeah, the combat was a wash. Slayers done nothing, and they killed 1. Slayers are unbreakable. So that was the end of that. On to Vampire Count's turn 2.
Alright, Vampires turn 2. Master Necromancer jumped into the zombies and turned to face the gyrocopter. These were march blocked, so just moved up slightly. These moved up a bit further. The ghouls have spread out. The Black Knights are stuck in place. Bats have moved up here. The single remaining direwolf is now bearing down on the crew of that war machine, although I don't think he's man enough to take it, unfortunately. The marker here now, that's where my ambush is being prepared, so hopefully from next turn I can start rolling for my direwolves to come in. Magic wasn't great. Rod of Flaming Death was dispelled, so I didn't manage to panic away this gyrocopter. Did Curse of Years on the Slayers, killing only 1, and failed to cast Hellish Vigor on my block of Black Knights. And then I tried it again and miscast and ended the magic phase, so it was a bit uneventful. Black Knights killed 1 more of the Slayers, so there's 9 left now, so still loads to chew through. They killed 2 in return, still lost the combat, but being unbreakable, they are stuck there long enough for their buddies to show up, which is not what I want.
We hope. Some fear test yet.
Dwarves turn 3.
Big turn 3 here, Dowie turn 3 rather. Movement was charges from the Longbeards straight into the Black Knights. They passed their fear test. The rest just shuffled round. The Hammerers moved up, and that was movement. The Gyro come over here. Shooting, the Gyro, did he even kill a Skelly?
Killed 1.
Gyro killed 1 Skelly with his flame. The Quarrelers did do 3 wounds to the Bat Swarm, which is quite handy. And then this bloke rang his runes, and the Hammerers moved forward to charge the Ghouls. The Ghouls fled, and that's how that's all ended up. And then the big epicenter, the combat, you done killed the Thane with Killing Blow, and then done no wounds to the rest of the Longbeards or the Slayers. I done 1 wound back, but I did win combat by 3 because of flanks, war banner, and outnumbers. So 3 crumbled. And that is where we're to, and going into Vampires turn 3.
Okay, Vampires turn 3. My reinforcements failed to show up. The direwolf charged in over here, but as you can see, he failed to kill anything and then crumbled. Bats charged here, survived the hail of crossbow bolts, but then failed to kill anything and lost a base and then wound off of the other one. Had a bit of shuffle around over here. The ghouls on this side didn't rally. The ghouls over there joined the fight against the Slayers. Magic phase was pretty brutal. The Curse of Years killed, I think it was 4 Slayers, and then what else happened? I've forgotten now. I think
Not a lot.
not a lot. You actually dispel everything else, so no, it was
Called
just
a panic check on the Hammerers, but they passed.
yeah. 1 Hammerer died to the rod, and I think that was it. Obviously, no shooting. Combat over here. The ghouls killed another couple of Slayers, and the White King killed 2 Longbeards. Didn't lose anything back, so the Longbeards have broke and run away, and the Slayers are looking a little bit bleak now, so this has turned it around. I was worried that I was going to lose my big Death Star in the middle, but it's all to play for. Dwarves turn 4.
Right, Dwarf turn 4. Started off no charges to declare, so the rallies all went well. The panic test on the bolt thrower and the great weapons from the Longbeards fleeing, they all passed, and the Longbeards rallied on a 10, luckily, with the musician. The gyro rallied and moved back. The hammerers reformed to obviously face the ghouls. And then obviously no magic phase. In the shooting phase, the anvil misfired again and he's rolled a 3, so he can't use it next turn either. Bolt thrower couldn't see anything and the quarrelers were in combat. As the combats went, the quarrelers killed the bat swarm with ease. And then the 3 mighty slayers managed to hang on with just 1, luckily, so it saved me this turn of him being in combat, but it's looking a little bit precarious for the hammerers, sadly. And it's on to Scott's turn 4.
Vampire counts turn 4. Alright, there was a lot of shuffling around. These skeletons charged the Longbeards, who fled, and I was just, thanks to the big wheel, even though John double ones his flee, I wasn't quite able to catch him. Magic, none of my attempts to cast Dance Macabre worked. The Book of Arcane and the actual attempt to cast did go off, obviously, but were both dispelled. I got Hellish Vigor on the ghouls, which helped them wipe out the Slayer. Didn't need it in the end, but it was just more of a Hail Mary. Forgot to say they did rally. Rod of Flaming Death was dispelled, and Curse of Years was cast on the Longbeards, killing 2 of them, and they are still...
Hammerers.
Sorry, the Hammerers. Keep saying the wrong one. Hammerers are cursed, and the curse is still in effect, but that does obviously mean at the moment the Necromancer can't cast anything. Dwarves turn 5. Thankfully, Anvil is still out of action, and there's a lot to play for in the middle. So let's see what John can pull off.
Turn 5 for the Dwarves was a little bit of a better one. Big rallies. The Hammerers rallied, thankfully. Movement phase, obviously there was no charges. The gyro snuck behind there for a bit of march blocking and a bit of flaming. And then these 10 shuffled up just to be annoying with the Black Knights. The Quarrelers have moved up over here, and the Longbeards have just reformed to help out their Hammerers. And then in the shooting phase, obviously they moved, so the crossbows couldn't shoot, but the bolt thrower using his, was it Rune of Penetrating the 2 up?
Skewering.
Rune of Skewering, which luckily he did because he rolled a 2 and then killed 2 Black Knights, which got them under half. Obviously the anvil couldn't ring because it misfired last time, and that is Dowie turn 5 on the Vamps turn 5.
Alright, Vamps 5. My ambushers finally showed up. They ran down the bolt thrower in the combat phase, and they've now overrun into these lovely boys here. Magic was pretty brutal. I think something like 8 Longbeards died to Curse of Years.
Hammerers.
Hammerers, I'll get it right eventually, maybe on the last 2. Well, I won't now because they're gone. Spoiler alert. I don't think I've actually cast many other spells, did I?
No, I let you get the Hellish Vigor off on...
Yeah, Ghouls had Hellish Vigor, which did sort of make a difference. They killed a couple of Hammerers, and the Hammerers got ran down. So there's a big load of points that just disappeared in the middle there. Those Hammerers are dead, by the way. We're just showing them so I don't forget. So yeah, John's turn 6. It's not the final turn because this weird scenario goes up to 7. But the anvil is back in action, and he's got some work to do if he's gonna save the game to a draw.
Dwarf turn 6. So movement wise, the bolt for a crew rallied, and the great weapons rallied. More importantly, so movement was sparse because the quarrelers wanted to shoot. The gyrocopter flew around again and flamed those. So the shooting phase, the gyrocopter done that. How many did he kill? 3?
4.
4. Gyrocopter killed 4. The quarrelers killed 1 ghoul. They passed their panic. And then the anvil killed and never fell back, but couldn't do enough to wipe them out. And then the annoying combats, the wolves killed 1 Longbeard and had a rear. I done 0 back, so luckily with the basically the war banner and ranks and banner, I managed to crumble 3, but annoyingly 1 still staying in the fight. And that was Dwarves turn 6. On to the Vamps.
Right, vampires turn 6. Magic, all... A lot of my attempts were stopped, but I did get Van Hells, which got the skeletons over there into combat with the Longbeards. I wasted the Book of Arcane moving these up, and then they got stuck on my own ghouls, and it ran out, so that was a bit pointless, but it's near the end of the game, so it shouldn't be too bad. I cursed these guys and killed a couple of them, and they're still cursed. And then in combat, they failed to do... They killed one skeleton, and then I crumbled 2, so I lost 2 skeletons, and the dog is gone now. The Black Knights completely tore through the little warrior unit, so they've overrun. Last time I didn't overrun because I was hoping to line up a charge for the final turn, but I don't want to risk just messing around. And finally, the ghouls charged the gyrocopter here, didn't do anything, lost 1 in return, but did pass their leadership, so they are still in the combat. And it is final turn dwarves. Can they turn it around?
Turn 6 for the dwarves. There was no movement.
Turn 7, wasn't it?
Sorry, yeah, turn 7 for the dwarves. That's last turn, and there was no movement bar the bloke reman and the bolt thrower. The quarrelers then shot at the zombies. After we randomised, it did hit the Master Necromancer and did do a wound on him. The Rune of Wrath of Ruin killed the last Fellbat. In the combat between the ghouls and the gyro, they done a wound each, but I outnumbered him, so the gyro and the ghoul stay in mortal combat after he passed his break test. And then the Longbeards killed 2 skellies with the banners and the ranks and the outnumber. They dissolved another 5 of them after, and it's on to Vampire's last turn. They're all sort of in the balance, I think.
So final turn, just before we see where all the points lie. A big invocation over here, saw 11 skeletons come back. I didn't bother putting them on because it's the last turn and the game's nearly come to an end. A couple of them died, but we ended up with a loss of the combat there, so the ghouls did flee. The reason there's so many dead Longbeards was Curse of Years, so the initial lot killed on 5s, and then I recast it again at the end of the phase. I only killed the unit champ, and hasn't quite got them, or has it got them under half now? They are under half, right? Because there's 9 of them now. Yeah.
I thought there was 10. I thought there was 11.
I think it's just because you've...
it might have been just I messed the rank up.
I did reform these into a weird formation to try and get a cheeky dance over here, but then my lovely Necromancer decided the final turn was a good turn to miscast. Thankfully nothing horrible happened. Over here, Gyrocopter 1 didn't kill me though, so that ghoul has retained his points. And we will see if the vampires have cinched the win, or if the dwarves have managed to cling on to a draw. Alright, we've totaled up the points. Who's won, John?
Oh, it was tight again, but after getting the Longbeards just under half, I don't think it would have mattered after. The vampires have got a minor victory. It was 6-2-6 to the dwarves to 11-0-3 to the vampires, which leaves us at a nice point in the campaign as well. Good game,
Good
mate.
game.
Well done.
And so that does, as John says, sets us up. So I won't go over the whole campaign map because we've done most of this way before we started filming anything. But essentially that's the vampires have now moved into this territory, which the dwarves were ahead. So it's the final turn and it's whoever's got the most territories. The named ones are worth 5, but there's a capital city worth 10. The dwarves were 1 ahead of the Cult of Slanesh, who are their main rivals. Because we did have vampires and orcs, but they were more sort of NPC type characters, just to we were just alternating who controlled them. So the orcs were wiped out. The vampires have, however, been a crucial thorn in the dwarves' side. So now there's a battle happening for the capital city of Malco, which the vile Druki have got in their grips at the moment. So if I can hold a draw next time, then the Dark Elves, despite only winning 1 game in the campaign so far, will actually potentially take the win. or will the dwarves smash them aside and cinch the victory before winter sets in and the campaign has to end? Hope you enjoyed the game. If you did, like, subscribe. We will be uploading more to the channel. And yeah, as I'll say in the intro, we've bit bare bones at the moment. It's sort of first time doing it, so excuse the sort of raw nature of the footage, but hope you enjoyed anyway. Cheers.
Cheers.